Peppa's house is the setting for a large portion of episodes in the Little Pigs cartoon. But did you know her home has several secrets that are hidden from you? Real house. Everyone knows Peppa Pig is just a cartoon, and that neither the little pig nor her friends exists in real life, which is a shame. But did you know the pig family's house exists in real life? Some videos that appeared online showed a building very similar to Peppa's house in the middle of a hill that also looks a lot like the one Peppa's home sits on. Some people were so impressed by the similarities that they assumed those images were fake, while others theorized that the house might have been built by a huge Peppa fan who wanted to replicate her home in real life. Others even came to believe that it really could be Peppa Pig's house, and that the little pig lives there in real life, which would mean Peppa Town and its animal residents truly exist. But that's not the case. After intense research, fans managed to uncover the truth about this mysterious structure. It isn't actually a house at all, but an abandoned church known as the Buried Church. It's located in Denmark and was built around 1387, but it was abandoned in 1795 after being buried by sand. So yeah, its story has no connection whatsoever to the most famous little pig in animation. But could the creators of Peppa Pig have been inspired by this structure when designing the main character's house in the show? That question remains. This is just the first of the 9 hidden secrets you didn't know about the Pig family house.
And for you who made it this far, we have a special invitation. Click the join button down below and become part of our exclusive group of subscribers. We have 3 plans for you to choose from. You can become a Wave Fund member and use our badges on your profile and special emojis in the channel's video comments. Or you can become a Wave Plus member and get early access to our videos and priority replies in the comments. But if you want access to our exclusive members-only videos and polls, you can become a Wave Max member. Starting at $2.99, you can become the newest member of Cinewave. Click now and get even closer to us.
Garage. For a long time, Peppa's house didn't have a garage. That changed when Evie arrived because the pig family renovated the house to make it bigger, with the goal of giving baby Evie more space. Completely understandable. Daddy Pig took the opportunity to add a garage to the house, and honestly, it was about time. They've had a car for so long, and it always felt a bit frustrating seeing it parked outside with the risk of getting rained on. Now that the residence has a garage, that shouldn't need to happen anymore, right? Well, actually, for some reason, the car still stays outside most of the time. It's rare to see it kept in the garage. It seems the pig family simply prefers leaving it outside, even though it's safer to keep it in the garage, which is literally meant for storing vehicles. What could be the real reason behind that? Maybe there's something or someone in the garage that Peppa and her relatives want to avoid at all costs. Address. Do you have any idea what Peppa's address is? If not, relax, because we're about to tell you. House number 3 on Astley Street in the city of Peppa Town. Yes, they even thought about what her address would be, which is simply amazing. And the best part? There's a hidden secret in that address that almost no one notices. Only the most observant Peppa Pig fans manage to figure out what that secret is on their own. But the truth is that this address is a reference to Neville Astley, an animator who's part of the show's production team. But he isn't just any animator, he's the co-creator of Peppa Pig. So it makes perfect sense that the cartoon would reference him this way. But the address is actually a kind of double tribute, since Astley Street also honors Rick Astley, the famous singer behind classic songs like Never Gonna Give You Up. Most kids who watch the show don't even know this musician, but the artists who create Peppa Pig episodes definitely like his music. If you also think Peppa's house has lots of cool secrets, comment down below #house.
Hills. The pig family's house sits on top of a hill, and if we pay attention, all the other houses in the town also stand on hills. And that's not just a coincidence. In the episode The Biggest Muddy Puddle in the World, we see that a gigantic flood covered the entire town in water. The only things left above the water were the houses, because they were on hills high enough that the flood couldn't reach them. That wasn't luck, but rather a deliberate strategy by the residents of Peppa Town to avoid waking up one day submerged in water, which means the town
town deals with constant flooding problems. Another clue pointing to this is how none of the characters are even slightly impressed by the flood. They treat it as something normal, inevitable, and part of everyday life, exactly like people who've learned to live with disasters. It's a bit unsettling to think about it that way, but at least we know the residents of Peppa Town are so prepared that they're no longer afraid of floods. Still, was everyone really safe at home when the flood in that episode happened? What if some were caught off guard? It's probably better not to think about that. Evil twin. Since we're talking about secrets, there's no way to avoid mentioning one of the darkest secrets in the entire show, especially because it's completely connected to the house Peppa lives in. This secret, in this case, is about a hidden resident of that house, another little pig who lives inside it without the pig family realizing. The clue that this character exists appears in one of the show's earliest posters, released during the first season. The poster shows the pig family gathered in front of their house, like a family photo. But besides the characters we all know and love, there's another figure in the background, behind the window, a little pig identical to Peppa. But it can't be her, since Peppa is outside with her family in front of the house. That image has raised questions for years, and it's surreal that it's official. This kind of mistake usually doesn't appear in official marketing materials for shows, which makes many people think that this second Peppa in the window was placed there on purpose to suggest to more observant fans that there's a pig very similar to the main character hidden inside that house. The most famous theory is that this girl is Peppa's evil twin sister, who was abandoned by Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig and began hiding in their house to stay in their lives without them even realizing it. It's a very dark theory, but it makes sense when you stop to think about it.
Evil twin in the new house. Even though the evil twin was only ever seen in the pig family's original house, don't be fooled. There's plenty of evidence that she still spies on her relatives even after they moved into the new house because of baby Evie. Some believe she was left behind in the original house. But the point is that the new house was built on the exact same spot as the original. Yes, the pig family didn't buy a new house. Daddy Pig had it built from scratch. However, he didn't choose a new location for it to be built. In fact, Daddy Pig simply had their first house demolished so the new one could be constructed on that very same hill. So the evil twin didn't even need to go after them. She just had to keep hiding while the residence was being built. In the end, the one who must have liked this reconstruction the most is the evil twin herself. Before, she had only a few rooms to hide in and probably had to spend most of her time hidden in the house's basement, but things have changed. Now the pig family's house is full of rooms that stay empty most of the time. The evil twin has countless hiding spots and will never be found.
The subscribe button is right there, waiting for you. How about clicking and keeping up with everything we post? Space. The main reason Peppa's house was rebuilt was so the family could gain more space, since Evie was about to be born. But that's kind of funny because when we look at the episodes, it's clear this house never really had that many space issues. The outside might have looked small, but the interior was always very large, much bigger than should be possible. The residents already had an entry hall, living room, kitchen, second floor, children's bedroom, parents' bedroom, guest room, office, and even an attic. Just looking at the exterior, you'd never imagine all those rooms could fit inside that little house. How is that possible? Does Peppa's house simply ignore basic rules of physics, like some kind of alternate dimension? It's wild to think about, and if the house is like that, what was the real reason for rebuilding it? Lack of space definitely wasn't it. Basement. Another very strange part of this house is, well, the lower part. The basement is rarely mentioned, and the characters don't usually go down there except when necessary. Maybe that's because the evil twin used to hide there before the reconstruction, and they could feel her presence whenever they went down the stairs. Anyway, that's not really what we want to talk about, but rather how this basement actually works. It takes this whole issue of the house's impossible spaces to another level, because Peppa's home isn't just anywhere, it's on top of a hill, and we're already tired of saying that. How can there be a basement in a house that sits on a hill? If we follow the logic, that would mean there's some kind of hollow inside the hill that leads into it, similar to the rabbit family's home. So the pig family's basement wouldn't exactly be a basement, but rather some kind of cave. New bedrooms. Since the pig residence became considerably larger after being completely rebuilt, Peppa and George were finally able to have their own bedrooms. For a long time, they shared the same room and had to sleep in a bunk bed, but that changed for good. But what about Evie? She sleeps in Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig's bedroom because she's still a tiny baby, right? Wrong. Even though she was born very recently, Evie already has a bedroom all to herself. No, she doesn't even need to share a room with
Peppa or George, and she never will have to. And that might reveal a small secret about Peppa's parents. Maybe they love Evie more than they love their two older children. It's quite common for parents to end up liking their youngest child more. Even though that's a bit unfair, it's obviously expected that they'll give more attention to the youngest, but having a favorite child isn't really a great thing.
The fun doesn't stop here. There are 2 amazing videos waiting for you on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.